Behold, the Khiyun Smooth Q Gimbal. It's not a bad device. Had it for a couple of years. I think I paid about 100 quid for it. And now you can pick these up for about 50, 60 euros. Now, really cheap. Yes, I had to put a new battery in it, and it's got a bigger capacity battery in it now, so you take it apart and wire that in. Brilliant. So I'll make good use of it. The problem is, these modern phones are flipping heavy. Now, the phone I used to have in it was the OnePlus 6. This is what I'm actually recording this video on, with the microphone plugged directly into the phone. But these days, you've got a flipping USB-C. And I've had to use an adapter, a right-angle adapter, such as that one there. Plug that in there like so. And that allowed, so that it can stick right out and didn't interfere with the motor on this end quite so badly. I've even had to trim a bit of the rubber off. It's a pain. But that's modern phones for you. They don't really think this through. A phone with a good camera and maybe a bit, this is what I would like, and something to plug a flipping microphone into without using a dongle like that. Vloggers, they'd love them for it. They really would. So I think that's a stupid idea. But anyway, that's what they've done. They got rid of the microphone socket, and now we've got to put up with these stupid things. Anyway, now, this video is about this Smooth Q gimbal. Not about the, the actual audio or, the microphone, what have you, although that does cause a problem with them. So I'll show you something. What did I have to do? Right? Not necessarily because just to fit this in, because what's happened is it pushed the whole phone out that way. It's gone that way. Now the problem with that is, let me show you. Well, it's not quite such a problem now because I've actually fixed it. But let me put that in there like so, and push that right up against the rubber so it's, tight. It does hold the phone quite well. It's never fell out, so that's a good sign. Now you see, it's, it's not very, it's like that. It's constantly doing that all the time. Well, I can adjust it here, because you've got this adjustment on here, and I've done that, and I moved it over. But before I did what I did, you couldn't even do that. No. Well, you could do it, but you couldn't actually, it wasn't enough movement to get enough, to balance out the weight. Because with that in there like so, it's pushed the whole phone over. Even more. So the weight is trying to do that constantly. Well, that means your Smooth Q is going to have to constantly battle that extra weight. But no. I found a solution. Well, I made a solution. As you see on here, this little thing on the end there, that's my counterbalance. Yeah, it's a counterbalance. I made the counterbalance and it's actually lead. And also, it's attached to this piece of little bit of metal here because there's no way to fix it on there, you see. And how I've actually fixed it is with this piece of metal, which is screwed to the back of this counterbalance, right? And then glued on there with a hot melt glue gun, but also a couple of tie wraps and that little tongue, just to make sure of it. So that sorted that problem out. But I don't know if you see the problem, there's still a problem, there's still an issue. So now it's not, it's not having to battle quite so badly. So I can move it out even a bit further, and it should be spot on, because I did do it correct. There you go. So it's bang on that way now. Yeah. Not bad at all. So then it hasn't got a battler. So that motor on the back here, it doesn't have to constantly fight the weight, because it's balanced, right? But what about this though? That's a problem, isn't it? So now it's constantly having to battle, because I keep the phone in its case, let's move the phone that way as well, but even if it was in the right place, it'll still be doing that. Which means that motor here is constantly battling. Again, it's a problem. It will drain more power out of your battery, so it doesn't last as long, and you put an excessive load on the motor and potentially could burn it out. We don't want that, obviously. So what did I do? I made another one. And just to show you how I made this one, give you a little idea, I've made this one. Now, as before, I've got painted as yet. But all it is a piece of copper pipe with a load of lead, and this is actually from roofing lead, that I've melted into the copper pipe. And while the lead was hot, because I just used a little blowtorch, literally this little blowtorch here, because I literally just made it. You see what's messy? That's from when I was actually just making it. And I just heat it up with this blowtorch, to melt the lead, which I just poured in the top, little snippets of lead that I just poured into the top, melted them in. And then I had this little, as you see, there's a screw in the back there, alright, attached to this piece of metal that I've bent and put a slot in. I'll show you how I'm going to fix that in a moment, and how effective it is. Right, you've got to be careful because you don't want to interfere or knock at anything. So, you could actually tap that lead, to be honest, but it'd be a bit soft. It wouldn't last very long, but you've got to do it once, I suppose. But what I've done, I know it's not central because I made a mistake, but there's a little nut in there that I pushed in while the lead was hot. And then basically, as it's cooling down, I helped to cool it down by spraying it with some Windex, could be water, obviously. This is what I had to hand. And then now I can actually just screw this piece, bolt that piece of metal to that counterbalance. So it's a piece of copper pipe, cut to length, all right, and then the lead poured in the centre. Now, how I worked out the balance, all I did was I grabbed the bit of lead I was going to use, cut it into a strip, and wrapped it around this knurled nut at the back here, so I got a good idea how much lead I needed to add. So I've done that. So what we'll do is we'll just screw this back in, and I'll just show you how effective that is. So, so screw it. It's going to be painted as yet, obviously, like I did the other one. But now, because it's quite handy on here, as you see, I put a slot in there, and that little bend in there just to, just in the vice, just so I got a bit of clearance to that nut, that bolt there. And this on the back here, you can loosen that, and create a gap in between. So that's all I did. So now I've got to grab that, and then just slide that in there like so. So it goes behind the spindle of the knurled nut. And now I can tighten up. There's plenty of movement on there to tighten that up, like so. So now, that counterbalance is now fixed to the actual device. And now look, if anything, it's a little bit on the heavy side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack that on the linen shirt and just sand it down a bit. So make it take a tiny amount off. So it's a bit, TLC until I get that right. So it's a little bit back, a bit heavy on the back, but on the whole, it's a darn sight better than what was doing that all the while. So now it's more balanced. So if I remove a bit of the weight, it will become more vertical, because that's kind of what you want. You don't want the motors working unless they have to. Right, so now, let's turn it on to see what happens with the actual device. There you go. Now it's having to do a lot less work. And what you'll find is, because you've got that phone all balanced now, if you make sudden movements, it's less likely to have that inertia and then end up going pointing in weird directions, because that was one of the problems that I was having with it. So now if I move that backwards and forwards, it's doing a lot less work than it was doing before. You can't see it there. There we go. See, it's tripod's not helping. So yeah, but it could probably do with a little bit of weight taken off that, and that would make it work even better. You do have to be careful. Let me show you at the back here with the the clearance. You see, you got that knurled nut there. You don't want that being hitting that counterbalance. So now I've got two counterbalances, counterbalancing the weight of this device. Sorry about that, I just got a point in the wrong place. So you've got a counterbalance on the back here for that movement, and now we've got a counterbalance on the back here for that movement. Yeah, so it definitely works. But if you look on the back here, you can see you've got to make sure that doesn't interfere with that. Right, so it's a simple idea. Really easy to make. Well, I made it, so it must be. And, as you can see, it works. It does the job. That it does. So whenever you're using a joystick, up and down, it's doing a lot less work now. And you'll find it'll move quicker. Because whereas before, it was only moving quick in one direction. Because obviously it was working against the weight of the phone. And now it's not. There you go. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you, because it's, I think it's an improvement if you've got the Khiyun Smooth Q gimbal, which you pick these up at 10 a penny, and it just makes the actual gimbal much more efficient with the Khiyun Smooth, in this case it's a One Plus. But it'll be the same with any phone, because the phones have got so big. They got so big now, and it's a bit of an issue. The only thing I would say is the DJI Mobile, what model it is now, they work on a different principle. So they don't have this thing. This is a silly idea. This is a bad design on this Khiyun Smooth Q gimbals. Because if it wasn't for this, the phone could have been balanced. But because of that, it can't. So that's a bit of bad design. Anyway, I thought that'd be of help, so I'll upload that, and really appreciate your comments. Oh, you do it down below. Okay. Ta-ta. And have a lovely day.